I wasn't supposed to talk to patients like that. Not personally. Not past the clipboard and routine questions. But Aaron was different. He was in for a minor knee surgery after a sports injury, routine procedure, nothing serious. I was the intern on the floor, juggling charts and coffee and pretending I wasn't falling apart from exhaustion. The first time I walked into his room, he was sitting cross-legged on the hospital bed, flipping through a magazine with one eyebrow raised. "Wow," he said. "You look more tired than I feel, and I'm the one on painkillers." I smirked. "I'm flattered." "Don't be," he said. "You've got the eye bags of a raccoon who's been through divorce court." That made me laugh, which wasn't easy to do on hour 11 of a double shift. We kept talking after that. Every time I had a moment between patients, I'd end up back in his room. He'd ask questions, real ones, about med school, about why I chose this hospital, about what I did when I wasn't in scrubs. I told him I didn't have a life outside the hospital. He didn't believe me. By the third day, I caught myself checking his room even when I wasn't assigned to him, just to see if he was awake, just to hear him say something sarcastic and make me smile. He noticed, of course. "You have the worst poker face," he told me. "Every time you walk in, it's like watching a sitcom character try to pretend he's not in love." I choked on my coffee. "In love with what?" "The smell of disinfectant." "No," he said. "With me." I stared at him. He shrugged. "What?" "Too forward." "A little," I said. "Also wildly inappropriate." "But not inaccurate." I didn't answer, because he wasn't wrong. There was something there between us, even if I couldn't name it yet. The next morning, he was getting discharged. I helped him gather his things, checked his chart, avoided eye contact. But when I turned to leave, he grabbed my wrist. "Hey," he said, "you gonna pretend this was just casual small talk the whole time?" I didn't know what to say. He handed me a folded piece of paper. "It's not a number," he said. "It's an address. I run a coffee shop. Come by when you're off duty." I didn't open it until I was in the elevator. Just the name of the cafe, and his handwriting that said, "No pressure. But I make a killer cappuccino." 2 days passed, then 3, then a week. I told myself I was too busy, that it wasn't professional, that I'd imagined the whole thing. But one night, after a particularly brutal shift, I found myself walking past that address. Just walking, and I stopped. The cafe was still open, dim lights glowing warm through foggy windows. I stepped inside. Aaron was behind the counter, in a worn hoodie and apron, wiping down a mug. He looked up. "Well," he said, "look who finally showed." I tried to speak. Failed. He gestured to the empty stool. "Come on, document, sit. I'll make you something better than hospital coffee." I did. We talked until closing. About everything. And nothing. No one mentioned the hospital. No one needed to. After that, I started coming by more often. Always off duty. Always quietly. Some nights, he'd close the shop early. We'd sit outside with our jackets zipped to our chins, watching the city lights, saying the things we didn't know how to say during the day. One night, I finally asked, "Why me?" He didn't hesitate. "Because you looked like someone who's been carrying a whole damn world on his shoulders. And I wanted to know what your laugh sounded like." I kissed him. It wasn't dramatic. No rain, no music, no sweeping declarations. Just a quiet moment, soft and steady, like an exhale I'd been holding since I met him. We didn't fall into anything fast. There were hesitations, awkward pauses, scheduling disasters. But he waited, and I showed up, and somehow that was enough. The ride to Santa Fe. I wasn't supposed to be driving across the country alone. Originally, it was a post-breakup healing trip with my best friend. But then he got a promotion, and I got tired of sitting in the apartment we used to share. So I packed my stuff, made a playlist, and decided to drive west. No real plan, just me and the road. I met Adrian at a gas station in Oklahoma. He was standing next to a beat-up sign that said, "Need ride west. Can pay for gas." Not weird. He had a small backpack, a denim jacket, and eyes that looked like he hadn't slept in a while. Normally, I'd never pick up a stranger. but something about him felt safe. "You headed to New Mexico?" he asked as I was filling up. "Eventually," I said. He gave me a crooked grin. "Perfect." I hesitated, then nodded. He tossed his bag in the back and climbed in like we'd done this before. First, it was awkward. The kind of quiet where the music feels too loud. But by hour 3, we were talking like old friends. He was a painter. Had just ended a long-term situationship with a guy who didn't want to be public. Said he needed open sky, cheap motels, and to feel like himself again. I told him about my breakup, the apartment, the silence. By the time we crossed into Texas, we were sharing snacks, bad jokes, and favorite songs. At one point, he looked at me and said, "You don't talk much, but when you do, it lands." That night, we stayed in a roadside motel. 2 beds, peeling wallpaper, and a broken vending machine. After we brushed our teeth and settled in, he looked over and said, "You ever think about how strange it is? 2 guys like us, just floating around in the middle of nowhere?" I smiled. "Strange, yeah, but nice." He rolled onto his side, facing me. "I like this. Whatever this is." I didn't know what to say, so I said the truth. "Me too." The room felt quieter after that. Not awkward, just full. I woke up the next morning to the smell of motel coffee and Adrian sketching by the window. "You draw me," I teased. He held up his notebook. It was a rough pencil sketch of me asleep, hair messy, face soft. "You looked peaceful," he said. Later that day, while parked by a canyon overlook, he reached across the center console and took my hand. He didn't say anything. He didn't have to. When we finally reached Santa Fe, I asked, "So, where do you go from here?" He shrugged. "I was kind of hoping I could keep riding with you." I looked at him, at the way his eyes crinkled when he smiled, at the paint stains on his fingers, at the quiet hope in his voice. "Yeah," I said, "let's keep driving."